Crowned A Traitor, a Hellish fairy tale. Written by Callaghan. Narrated by Jess Nahikian. One. Klara clicked the stop button on her Walkman as she reached the intersection of Grimm's Path. The Forest of Malum was too quiet without the hum of music. Removing the headphones from her neck, she paced back and forth as the towering green vine of the beanstalk sat in front of her. Tonight marked a fresh start, her first shift as a waiter, and the first step on the way to freedom. "You sure you want to do this?" Klara asked herself quickly as a group of tired ogres trod past her on the path. Now or never, she thought, placing her headphones and Walkman in her backpack. Human objects were contraband in the forest, and Klara didn't want to lose her job the moment she walked inside the beanstalk. Klara had never had a job, never served anyone before, but if she could handle Lilith's combat training, she could balance a few dishes. Klara pushed open the gate as a group of hungry centaurs left with bags of food and pizza boxes. The beanstalk dining hall sat in the center of a never-ending beanstalk that reached high above the forest of Malum and into the night sky. The peeling signpost at the entrance read, "No killing, no swearing, no gambling." The family business had been a pillar of Malum society for hundreds of years. Most dining halls in Malum closed quickly due to a lack of food. Klara wondered how the beanstalk survived the reign of the three queens, with their severe taxation. Klara shook away the thought. Klara wanted out of the forest, and for that to happen, she needed money, and the beanstalk meant gems. As Lucifer's daughter, there was no place for her in the Fae-ruled lands of Kalos across the river Styx, without a bribe or two. Klara brushed any dust from the journey here from her red dungarees and headed up the wide stone steps to the door. A small silver bell chimed announcing her arrival. Ironic, she thought, looking up at the glimmering bell. Silver is toxic to the majority of the dark creatures that roam Malum. The center of the beanstalk had been gutted and reshaped with wood from an ancient oak to build a dining hall for all dark creatures alike. Many feared Klara's ability to see through glamoured appearances. Her guardians also preferred for her to remain under lock and key. For Klara's own protection, the queens assured her, but that was until she saw the Help Wanted advertisement in the ethereal press that Arthur had left in the castle's kitchens. The wood of the oak had created stools and tables for the many creatures that visited every evening. On the wall above the main counter was a mural of the High Queen, guiding children up the path to the gingerbread factories. The factories didn't exist anymore, but the threat of them was enough to keep all breeds of creature in line. The image of the helpless children sent to their graves sent chills down Klara's spine. Klara's eyes drifted to Gino and his partner Sylvia's beaming smile. Klara forced a smile, noticing how slight and long-limbed the owners were for food lovers. "Welcome, Klara," beamed Sylvia, stepping out from behind the counter to embrace her. She attempted to kiss Klara's cheeks, but Klara shrugged off the embrace. "I'm not late, am I?" Klara asked, as it looked as though they had been waiting for her. "Right on time," Sylvia replied. Most who visited the castle didn't dare embrace Klara, afraid her magic would reveal their secrets. Being so close to Sylvia forced Klara to suppress her magic and tug her sleeves further down her arms. Klara was unnerved by Sylvia's sunken eyes and large pupils. It would be rude to ask their species, so Klara diverted her gaze, not wanting to stare. She couldn't insult her new employers in the first 5 minutes. "Come and meet the boys, and I will get you an apron," Gino said. Klara noticed he had the same hollow eyes and sunken cheeks as his wife, though his boisterous personality made up for his sickly appearance. Gino led her to a set of swing doors at the end of the booths. It was only 7 p.m., but a full moon meant the booths were full of magical folk, gorging on the famous giant slices of frog-skin pizza.
"Wait here for a moment, let me tell the boys,"
Gino said, moving through the swing doors, and Klara hesitated outside, eyeing the food on the table closest to her. Clara's stomach growled, and she regretted not eating before sneaking out of the castle. Klara peered through the circular hole in one of the swing doors to see Gino's sons flipping dough. She couldn't wait to get her hands on a slice.
"What about the last waiter?"
one of the sons said to Gino. Klara overheard the question, but she was distracted by the customers' dull food. Klara looked around the diner, seeing the frayed edges of the concealing glamour. The decor was a mirage, and Klara didn't dare look through for fear of what it might reveal. You are here to work and to get paid. Klara walked through the doors as Gino caught her listening.
"Our previous waiter took a new position elsewhere,"
the broader son said to his brother. Jobs aren't easy to come by in the forest. One of the grueling potion factories must have taken them on.
"Why can't Ma do some labor?"
Daria said, and Klara looked at the dull green frog skin on the counter. The ingredients weren't fresh from what she could see, despite the sign nailed into the side of the beanstalk advertising, "Fresh, straight from the port." Klara took her eyes from the ingredients. Mind your own business, Klara thought, as her magic stirred, demanding to know the truth. Gino introduced Klara to his sons, Lucius and Dario, as they applied generous amounts of sauce to the pizza bases on the filthy wooden countertops. Dario stopped to offer Klara a flour-caked and wart-covered hand. He grabbed her hand.
"Rough hands ain't afraid of hard work."
Klara pulled her hand free. She had Lilith to thank for the calluses. Hours of merciless training didn't leave you with soft palms. Mushrooms popped up through the cracks on the work table, and mold coated the areas that were often damp from water being added to the dough. Fresh food clearly wasn't a priority, but food was scarce in the forest. Cleanliness, however, was free. Clara's stomach rolled a little, and Gino followed her gaze.
"The fungus only adds to the flavor. We have passed all our inspections,"
Gino said, holding his pointed chin high in the air. Bribes are as common as hairs on a lycan's back in Malum. It wouldn't have been hard to bribe an inspector with food or gems.
"How are we looking this evening? All the prep is done?"
Gino asked his sons, and they both looked to the Salter and nodded.
"Chopped and ready,"
Lucius winked, tossing a cleaver and catching it one-handed.
"Where do you want me?"
Klara asked, taking a deep breath. Gino clapped his hands.
"Leave the dirty plates and cutlery with the ogres out back to lick clean and hand over the orders to Sylvia so she can call them out to the boys,"
Gino instructed, handing her an apron. Klara glanced around the kitchen, trying to familiarize herself. There was an industrial salter built into the wall, for the preserving of meats and skins. 2 stone-fired ovens and a topping station opposite, where Lucius and Dario continued to work. The topping section held her attention. Frog's feet, eagle's tongue? Judging by the selection, they must have a port officer in their pocket. Klara moved away from Gino as he continued to explain her duties. She inched closer to the meat station, trying not to catch the son's attention. In the open woven baskets, Klara saw an ear. Hobbit's ears were very rare. Klara hadn't realized this place would serve such delicacies. Her hands throbbed to reveal the danger around her, but she clenched her fists in protest, hoping the sons wouldn't notice her inner struggle. Lucius stood in front of the station. His broad shoulders lacked muscle, but they still blocked her line of sight.
"You needn't concern yourself with the food," he grumbled.
Like his family, Lucius's limbs were gangly and lacked any muscle or fat. Klara felt cold as her magic tried to get her attention. Gino thought she was a mere witch, and Klara wanted to keep it that way.
"Sorry about Lucius,"
Dario chuckled, as Klara backed into him, trying to put distance between herself and Lucius.
"He isn't used to non-family members being back here."
With her raven hair and olive skin, she definitely wasn't part of this family.